You're listening to the 175th edition of the Bitachon podcast. We continue in Tehillim chapter 56, passuk Yud Beis, verse 12, which is a similar passuk to what we spoke about last week, but there's a slight difference, and we're going to talk about the difference. Elokim batachti, I trusted in God, lo yira, ma yaseh adam li. I won't be afraid. What will man do to me? So the passuk before that we spoke about, which was a few psukim earlier, said, ma yaseh basar li. What will flesh do to me? So we're going to talk about, not immediately, but we're going to talk about what is the difference between basar, flesh, and adam, a human being. What can a man do to me? He brings from the Chavis Halavavis, which says, it's very interesting, the Chavis Halavavis gives us the difference. He compares and contrasts someone who has Bitachon, someone who has complete confidence in Hashem, versus an alchemist, somebody who has the amazing ability to turn lead into gold or lead into silver. But he says that even if somebody could do such a thing, turn lead into gold, so they still wouldn't have the same level of confidence as a person who has Bitachon in Hashem. And Vashlishi, the third of the ways that he's enumerating that a Baal Bitachon has the advantage, the alchemist who knows the secret to turn lead into gold. So he's afraid lest someone else figure out the secret. He's afraid for his soul. Imagine if everybody had the secret of how to turn lead into gold. Gold would lose its value. I'm not afraid that you should find out the secret of Bitachon. Other way around, I'm excited to share it with the world, the secret of Bitachon. Dovid Hamelech, He shouts from the rooftops, King David, I trusted in Hashem. I'm not afraid. What can a person do to me? How can anyone steal my secret? Nobody can steal my secret. Anybody is invited to use this amazing secret of Bitachon. He brings here in the note, the Pri Megadim explains the words of the Chavis Halavavis, who have a sefer in a trikain, Zeleshanisham. This is what he says. Va'avar lila atzmi. I want to explain to myself, or it could be, I want to explain on my own. A person who's rich, he's afraid day and night of robbers, of other people's jealousy, people who would try to take away his wealth. Interestingly, an alchemist, so he has an advantage over a regular rich person. A rich person is afraid people will steal from him, but the alchemist, what are his work tools? He has lead, he has copper, he also can change copper into other alloys, other metals. Right? Right, so the alchemist can make a little bit of his lead into silver when he needs it. He doesn't need to transform it all and have stockpiles of silver. He can just easily transform lead. So he's not so worried. So the alchemist, in this regard, in this respect, he's quite happy. He's confident. He goes joyously. If somebody would ask him, you look very poor, you have a very run-down house, you have lead lying around in your house, and copper, why are you so happy? You're poor. Why are you so confident? He'll be afraid to announce or to share with anybody why he's confident and what is his work. Because if they find out, if the government finds out what he's doing, he's making fake silver, making fake gold out of other alloys. So when he gets caught, he'll be sentenced to death. he's also changing the laws of nature. In those days, I guess they didn't like that. They didn't like witches and wizards. So the Prima Gegadim explains that the Baal Bitachon doesn't have this issue. He has the simcha, he has the bitachon, he has always what he needs, right? And we'll see that even when the needs are greater, even when a person's needs expand, the Baal Bitachon there's no difference really between needing $1,000 or needing $10,000 or $100,000. Baal Bitachon gets whatever he needs. So, but the Baal Bitachon is not afraid of his secret getting out. It says the note here that the Prima Gegadim also explains that there's also a beautiful mashal. Why did the Chavis always talk about the alchemist? We know today that alchemists are not real. They don't have that power. You can't change lead into gold. But why did he use that mashal? Kihine kol bal alchemia havich nefeshos lekesef ubedil gam kein lekesef. Because the alchemist has the ability to transform lead or copper into silver. Listen, you are an alchemist. I am an alchemist. We are true alchemists. Because a person who studies Torah, who involves himself in Torah, and attaches himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to God, and the person's trust is in Hashem, we transform copper into silver. Silver in the deeper sources, silver represents rachamim, it represents God's mercy. So we take the nechoshes, the copper, which is the same word as the nachash, the snake. We change the snake, the evil, the Yetzer Hara, into rachamim, into God's compassion. Kam oivo yashlim imoy. Even a person's enemy, his Yetzer Hara, will come to terms with him. Mitzvah shenigmarim al yedei Yetzer Hara. Right, the Yetzer Hara will even help the person complete his mitzvahs. Right? Ubodal umufresh afar me'adama al yedei haTorah. And the word for lead in Hebrew is bedal. So that's something that comes. It's transformed. We take the human being, which is earth, which is earthy, which is leaden, and transforms. The person is transformed through the Torah into silver, into rachamim, into gold, into the greatest kind of human being that's possible. The Torah transforms us. Our bitachon transforms us. Yes, we are like an alchemist. We have the ability to take the human being, to take our Yetzer Hara, to take this goof, this body, which is composed of earth, the most earthy thing in the world, and transform it into something spiritual. And that's the alchemy that we are part of. Ashreinu, how lucky we are. Okay, now he brings from the Kara Kemach in explaining our passuk. A righteous individual should not be afraid of anybody except for Hashem. Now, a human being has a certain amount of fear. He has a certain amount of this character trait of fear. And fear is healthy. Now, we don't like the word fear. I don't want to be afraid of anything. But fear is healthy. Fear motivates. Guilt also motivates. It's not a bad thing either. But our society doesn't like these words, but sorry to tell you, these are important words. But a person has a limited amount of reservoirs of fear. Okay? When a person is afraid of the strength of human beings, so then his fear of Hashem is not complete. He's taking from his reservoirs and he's sticking it over into an area where it's not necessary, it's not needed. Because he's wasting the motivation of his fear, really, on something that he can't do anything about. There's nothing to do. That's why King David says, I took my fear and I kept it focused specifically on Hashem. I want to be afraid of only Hashem. That's the only one I want to fear, because really, that's the only one that there's any ta'alas. There's any purpose to fear. Anyone else is a waste of my fear, a waste of my energy. I don't need to waste my energy on fearing something that I can't do anything about. If I fear Hashem, if I use my energy to make sure I'm doing God's will, I'm using that capacity for good. Rabbeinu Yoina. Rabbeinu Yoina says that included in the idea that we're talking about here is that a person should not trust in a human being. Hashem is the only one who can save him. Nobody else has the ability to save a person, even though they will. It may be that Hashem will send a person to save me. It may be that Hashem will put the idea of the Iron Dome inside of the minds of our army here in Israel. But it's Hashem doing it. And the Iron Dome will only work because Hashem deems it so. So in an article from Gedalia Guttentag, my neighbor, writes for Mishpacha magazine, he said that he quoted a source in the defense industry in Israel who said that, generally speaking, they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on defense in many different countries. It doesn't always work, or often it doesn't work. The fact that our system is working is an incredible siyata d'shmaya. And that's what King David says. I trust in Hashem. I'm not afraid of what people will do. Meaning, it's Hashem who I trust. I'm not afraid if a person will or won't be the one who's his messenger. It doesn't matter what a human being will do. What can a human being really do for me? That's what he's trying to say. What can a human being really do for me? Only Hashem can do for me. Here he brings the Alshich. King David is saying like this. Al yachshaveni shemeh b'amor ki b'me'eftach b'chol ha'toiv v'ani yideni asr b'yashol. King David, when he says these verses, okay, he was trapped by King Saul, by Shaul Hamelech. And he's saying, I trust in you, Hashem. So, if you'll say to Dovid Hamelech, how do you trust in Hashem? You are currently incarcerated. You're currently surrounded by Shaul's men. He was in a cave. He was in a place that was dangerous. Well, why are you so sure? How do I know that I'm going to escape from him? Achish, the Philistine, not Palestinian, the Philistine. I'm sorry. So he escaped from Achish, but maybe Shaul HaMelech, as we're going to see, is different. Maybe King Saul is the king of the people of Israel. He's a Jew. He's a Yid. Maybe King David won't be able to use his bitachon, his faith in Hashem, to save himself from Shaul. That's why it sounds like he's repeating this verse. I trust in Hashem. I trust in God. But there's a difference here, as we pointed out at the very beginning. I trusted in Hashem. What can flesh do to me? That's a reference to the Philistine, to Achish, the Plishti. And he's called flesh, but not a human. Says Dovid Hamelech, it doesn't matter, Shaul is a Jew. That means that he has Hashem on his side. He's the king of the Jewish people. He has tremendous siyata d'shmaya. Maybe I need to be afraid. Maybe I need to fear for my life. Maybe my bitachon won't work against his bitachon. He's also trusting in Hashem. Says Dovid Hamelech, just like my faith worked when it came to Achish, the basar, the flesh, the person who is just a nothing more than a brute. That's the word I'm looking for, a brute. I also trust in Hashem, says Dovid Hamelech, when it comes to my interaction and being chased by King Saul. Even though he's an Adam. He's an Adam. He's a human. He has the Tehillim Elokim much more. He has divine assistance. He had Ruach HaKodesh, Shalom Melech. Sheumi Israel is from the people of Israel. Hakurim Adam. We are referred to as Adam. We are the reincarnation of Adam Arishon. The same bitachon that I had, which saved me from the basar, the flesh man, which was Achish, the Plishti, that same bitachon, it doesn't matter the context. Bitachon is bitachon is bitachon. You need $1,000, you need $10,000, you need $100,000. It's the same bitachon. It's the same confidence. Hashem has no problem to give you any amount that you need. It's all the same to Him. Hashem has, it belongs to Him. Kiliha zav, did I say basar? Kiliha zav, Kiliha kesav, Hashem has the gold and the silver. There's no difference. Dovid Hamelech is saying if I'm facing off with the Plishti, or if I'm facing off Lahavdil with Shol HaMelech, my bitachon is the same bitachon, and it works the same way. Incredible. Brings here from the Ma'yan HaChochma. He gives us a muster teaching where it's El. We need to work on our Ben Adam Chaveri, as I mentioned in the Parsha podcast. And the Ma'yan HaChochma says, don't trust any person. What does it mean, don't trust any person? It means Hashem is the one who provides for you. But now, hold on a second. Listen to this. If you believe in God, and you believe that Hashem is intimately involved in your life, and He is, if you're sure of that, so then if somebody does something to you, a human being does something to you, hurts your feelings, takes money from you, doesn't give you what you deserve, hold on a second. Did that person do it? No. They're just Hashem's shliach. They're just Hashem's messenger. And that means it's really Hashem. That's it. This whole world is just about me and Hashem. It's just me and God. Everything else, it's there's a phrase in Hebrew, chai b'seret, which kind of means a different thing that I'm saying, which means literally living in a movie. And it's not real. The whole world is just a movie set. Don't try to get on somebody's good side. Don't flatter people. That's not how you're going to win. That's not how you're going to win at the game of life. That's what King David is saying. I trust in Hashem. I'm not afraid of what people will do to me. That means, or in this context, what can a person help me? What can a person do to me? What can another human being really, you can't take something away from me if it's mine. Nothing can be taken away from a person if it's theirs, if they deserve it. It's such a big musar. It's such an important lesson. Bitachon is also about, besides for being about having a relationship with Hashem and trying to get our needs met through that relationship, but it's also about a recognition that He's everything. Hashem is everything. There's nothing in the world that's real except for Him. Last little piece here from the Be'er Avram. Elokim betachti, yirtz levar zchusay shezochel lekach. King Dovid Hamelech is trying to explain what was the merit that he had, that he was able to overcome his enemies in war. Although the attribute of God's justice, of judgment, was there, right? That's the name of Elokim, as we spoke about previously. But he didn't stop trusting in Hashem. It's easy when things go wrong to lose our faith, to lose our bitachon and say, hey, it's not working. Dovid Hamelech says, no, that's when you have to double down on your bitachon. V'zohi emunah shlema, that's what it means. Ani ma'amin b'emunah shlema, I believe with complete faith. Afal pisha yismamea. Even though it doesn't seem to be happening, the salvation doesn't seem to be coming, I'm still holding on to complete faith. Emunah shlema. Ki ein leish chazaka be'emunah. L'yos nema bebrisa kisheyesh shomer bris v'ter b'yos sha'ana v'shalev v'ves v'rana me'echaloi. You can't compare a person who has bitachon and emunah when everything is good. Aval ki gam b'ishapech alav b'los hazman v'yachzu yimei oini yudfu ad hashvarim. Even in a place that a person is broken, a person doesn't have money, it seems like his needs are not being met. In that circumstance as well, the person cannot remove his simplicity, the way that he goes with God simply, with simple faith. That's what it means, Elokim. That even though the person experiences God's judgment, nevertheless, Dovid Hamelech tells us, that's the place, when the going gets tough, the tough have bitachon. That's the place where the rubber hits the road. Right? That's where we gotta strengthen our bitachon when the times are tough, when the challenges come. And that's the place. That's the place. It's not like, oh, it's so hard. Oh, it seems impossible. How am I going to get that amount of money? That's not the place to give up. That's the place to strengthen our bitachon. And it will come. Hashem will help us. And we'll have all of our needs met. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again next time.